Are you a real estate investor looking to sharpen your skills or a newbie looking to become one? You're in the right place. Welcome to Where Should I Invest? Real Estate Investing in Canada with your host, Sarah Larby.
Hey everybody, Sarah Larby here. Thanks for tuning in, and you are in for an awesome show today with François and Jennifer Lanthier, who are real estate investors located in Ottawa and have built a very, very impressive portfolio, allowing François to retire at the age of 40. And they have a really awesome story. I will say, I know these two personally. François is the one that does a lot of my show notes. So hopefully you guys read my show notes. He puts a lot of time helping me with that. He is awesome. And also at the Right Club co-hosting many of our events. So it made sense to bring them on because not only are they part of the Right Club community, they're part of helping me as well with my podcast. They have like a really awesome story, and they've been able to scale their portfolio without using any of their own money, going through the joint venture route. And I will tell you, they have an impressive portfolio and have learned so much. And now they're, turning the tables and sharing it with all of us. And so I think it's really cool to see what they've been able to do. And I will tell you, it's been like 19 months for them of real estate investing, and they chose to grow aggressively and didn't have to spend any of their own money doing it. So I will tell you, it is possible. There are ways. And they're also doing really awesome with cash flow because a lot of their properties are in Eastern Canada. And actually a really cool story about François and Jennifer is they ended up buying a house in New Brunswick, and they were moving their entire family there. So they sold their house in Ottawa, got to New Brunswick, realized that, maybe this is not where we want to actually live. So they ended up finding a house in Ottawa to move back to and rented out their New Brunswick house that also cash flowed really well. But I will tell you, that is the power and the freedom of real estate investing, is to be able to do that. Take everybody, go somewhere, realize after a week that maybe you don't want to live there. That's totally cool. But I think that's an awesome story of the ability to just have that freedom and not have to stay somewhere if you don't want to. And, if you choose to travel, you could travel. And so they have a really cool life. And they've got, 2 kids as well that are starting to slowly learn the ropes. And I will tell you, they are a power couple. So I'm super excited to have them on the show. Please reach out to them. And also don't forget to rate and review the podcast. If you haven't yet, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Let's bring in François and Jennifer. François, Jennifer, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I'm excited to have you guys. I'm also excited, to have couples, because we don't always have couples on the show. A lot of time it's just, one person. But I'm also excited because we work together at the Right Club, and you are, very critical to the success of our club, and you've really, helped us enhance that and make things flow a lot smoother. And so thank you for all you do. But you are also real estate investors, very successful ones at that as well. So maybe we'll start with your story, how you got into real estate investing, and we'll go from there. Which one of you, Jennifer or François, who wants to start?
You start. I always talk.
Okay. So yes, we've been real estate investors since about 2015, 2016. I would say more intensely in the last
19 months.
Yeah, almost 2 years now.
Yeah.
So we're getting close to 30 doors and a little bit of everything. So some duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes,
fiveplex, and 6.
Yes, that's right. We did just buy a 6plex. So we have a little bit of everything, mostly multifamily. That's kind of our thing. Multifamily, buy and hold.
And our first tenant, we need to tell the story. Our very first tenant. I don't know if you know that one, Sarah, but anyway, it was my mom. I love you, Mom, but you were the worst tenant ever.
Well, my sister-in-law was the worst tenant ever too. So why was your mom the worst tenant ever?
Oh man, anyway, we bought a condo, so newbie mistake anyway.
It was our first investment.
Yeah, but the story around it is really good. But why she was a bad tenant is just Mom, well, you have a mom and she has a mom. Mom calls up, hey, there's snow on my balcony. When are you shoveling it? Oh, the balcony, there's a scratch in the top corner on the handrail or whatever. There's always something. The neighbor parked near my spot and now I can't get in and out and the neighbors are not nice with me. And anyway, it's like, this is a condo. I don't know. I don't control everybody.
That's hilarious. I mean, it is funny, right? But like, it is cool to see because you guys really have scaled up in the last 19 months to basically 30 units in 19 months. And I think you've done it also by working with other people's money and bringing in investors. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes, mostly with other people's money because you just only have so much of your own.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that's awesome, right? Because you scaled so fast because you chose that route. And you also picked, I think, some markets that are conducive to cash flow. But let's just, before we get into where you're investing, how did you come across all of these different partners or opportunities to utilize other people's money and assets to team up and to invest in real estate?
So this, we have to go back a bit about my history, my background in my work. So back in 2009, I was doing marketing and sales, social media marketing. So I was on LinkedIn, and I guess 2009, I was sort of an early adopter. And so tons of networking online on social media and through groups as well, such as the Right Club. Amazing to network with like-minded people. Local groups in Ottawa, there's Oreo, there's other groups as well. So networking, that's how we meet people. It's not, I know you can do family. Yes, my mom could have invested with us.
But
My
you just
dad,
said she was a bad tenant.
that's it. So, because that's a rule number one, like working with partners or private lenders, you need to vet them. Can you put up with them? Can they put up with you? Because you're kind of getting married for a few months or years. So it's like a short-term marriage. So Jennifer puts up with me. She knows what to do.
Long term.
Long term. So the same applies to your lenders. So that's why, yes, networking is great, but you also need to get to know them and vet them. And legally as well, you need to have a relationship with those people. So
can I ask, because 19 months ago, I mean, it was not COVID or the pandemic yet, but since then, like you've been investing a lot throughout this pandemic. And so are you meeting these people, on Zoom for the most part, like people that you haven't necessarily met in person, or like, are they connections from back when we were networking in person?
I would say a little bit of both. So we have done most of our networking post-COVID
or pre-COVID.
During COVID, I would say.
Yeah, COVID's been really good for that stuff. Like,
yeah, meeting a lot of people online, and then you're like, oh, a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, I saw you guys at a meetup or something, and we didn't even realize it, but then we're just chatting with people that we kind of already did meet but didn't know we met.
Or forgot, sorry. We just meet a lot of people, so.
No, that's awesome, right? I mean, this is part of this strategy, and so they're getting to trust you, they're getting to like you, and then how are you positioning it? Because you've done 30 plus doors. It sounds like multifamily. How are you positioning your conversation with them? Maybe just walk us through, so somebody that's listening to this and that doesn't know really where to start and how to network and how to talk to people about partnering. Like, what was some of the conversations that you've had in the process?
This was a huge question for us about 19 months ago. We're like, how do you approach people and ask them for money or ask them to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars? So how do we do that, Jennifer?
Well, François's always been like the kind of social media guy, always like it's unbelievable all the people that he talks to in a day. And I would say I'm more of the numbers person. So we kind of put our two forces or strengths together. And I kind of always do the numbers. So I do some kind of like a one pager where it kind of shows the deal that we're working on or a few deals that we're working on in the next little while. And then François just goes to town with it.
And the way we approach people, and that comes from Danielle Saint-Jean, co-founder of the Right Club, is you offer them the opportunity to work with you. So I'm running with this all the time. So we do offer a few deals. Usually we found someone, okay, I want to work with you. Like I had a phone call about 2 hours ago with someone. He said, I want to work with you. I want to be your JV. I'm like, that's awesome. But let's talk about you. I want to get to know you. And then I talk to them about different deals and walk through different scenarios as well. So it's important to do a bit of kind of role playing. What happens if I die? I get very dramatic. That's totally me. And I'm sure you know me now, Sarah. But, what if I die? What if you die? What happens there? And all those things people don't consider. They just get excited. What if you get divorced? Or you have, I don't know, your wife is pregnant with quintuplets and you need all this money back. So we go through different crazy scenarios and we always have lots of time. So you never want to rush this. There can't be any pressure. If there's any pressure or anything like that.
Well, like you said, you're building a relationship with the person. So it's really something that takes time.
Yeah, usually it can take a few months to secure like a good joint venture partner or a private lender. Or it can be weeks. We've had people, it was really quick. We're like, whoa, this was easy, $100,000, nice. But you have to be careful. If it's too easy, maybe there's something there, or maybe they're experienced. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is pretty interesting. So it could take a few months to, work a deal with a partner. So what do you look for first? Do you look for that partner and then you figure out the deal, or you look at the deal and you say, okay, this could match with this partner, that partner? Like, do you line them up with like a bunch of different partners based on their criteria? Like, what does that even look like?
So that's kind of from my sales background, and Jennifer was in sales too. You need kind of the sales funnels, so the investors and the buildings. So it's kind of hard. It's the egg and the chicken, like which one came first? You need to have both the egg and the chicken all at once. And it doesn't always line up. Sometimes you miss out on deals. Sometimes we've missed out on partners. Like, can you tell more about that, Jeff?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few times where we had a partner that wants to work with us and you just don't find the deal fast enough and they end up investing at other places because they don't want to lose out either, right? They get the FOMO. Right. But and then you could also have the deal and then not find the investor. So I think it's always working, like François said, both funnels and finding
at once. Because we had a guy in January, right at the beginning, $1 million. I'm like, yeah, $1 million. I'm gonna find all these deals. And we did, but then the deals needed to close later, and then it was too soon. Then he started chunking away some of his money, like I lent $100K here and there, and then nothing was left. And we're like, well, that's okay. I mean, it's part of life. But.
Absolutely, it happens. So when you find these deals, so you talk to the investors, it sounds like you're cultivating deals and investors at the same time, and whether it's JV partners or money lenders, if somebody wants to be passive, you're cultivating those, you're having the conversations, maybe it's a couple weeks, maybe it's a couple months, and then you're doing the deals. Are you finding these deals on the MLS, off the MLS? Like, how are you finding these deals to make it, like a really great deal for investors, especially in a crazy market like right now?
Both. We really do work a lot in secondary markets, so they're not quite as hot, but I mean, Canada everywhere is hot right now.
Yeah.
But I think that there's a few key strategies that we use to find deals. So we do work with a lot of agents that kind of will show us a deal before it goes on MLS, which is always great to have. Then you don't have that big bidding war and everything. And then a lot of times what we have found, because the market is so hot, even in these secondary markets, is sometimes if you're patient, they come back on.
Yeah, deals fall apart, and then
so we just bought a fourplex that we're like, oh crap, we missed it, and then it went back on, and we actually got it for under asking because nobody looked at it.
No, because it happened just during kind of a provincial lockdown, so nobody could go in. It was really complicated. We're like, well, we'll take it. We don't care. And it did. I mean, there's an element of risk, but it was calculated. We did find out a few issues, like the plumbing stack we didn't get an inspection. It cost us maybe $5,000 more than we thought, but $5K, I mean, to get a deal, cash flows from day one, it's not bad at all, in my opinion.
No, that's good. So where are you purchasing these deals?
So right now we're focusing on Eastern Canada. So New Brunswick is amazing because of the tenant laws. You can buy properties and the cash flow. Yeah. So you can buy properties that cash flow right from the beginning. Also, Detroit, Michigan now is really cool. I think there's some awesome opportunity, and we are looking out west. So east and west, it's like a donut. The center is bad, but don't go for the...
Not Ontario then?
Yeah, don't go for the jam in the middle. Go for the pastry.
All right. But we did start off in Ontario in secondary markets, like markets outside of our Ottawa hometown. But just
well, what happens
kind of
is
evolved.
It's like a double-edged sword. So usually where there's no cash flow or less cash flow, there's higher appreciation. Where there's higher cash flow, there's less appreciation. So appreciation can be speculation. You have to be careful, but you do need some, absolutely. And it depends what you do. Like Sarah, you do the BRRRR. The BRRRR strategy is not always as good in secondary and tertiary markets. It's harder to find comparables. Like a fourplex, I mean, in some towns where we've bought, that's the only fourplex. So there is no comparable. This is it. So you have to be careful with that. But it depends what you want. I wanted cash flow so I could quit my job, and Jennifer as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And congrats on leaving your job, François. That is really cool, and on your retirement. So here's a question. You're obviously buying in Eastern Canada. You're buying in Detroit. It looks like you're going into Western Canada as well. So you're managing this from afar. What are you doing to ensure that things run smoothly remotely?
That's been a challenge and a half.
but you know what? I think that's awesome that you're saying that it's a challenge, because this is the real shit that happens. And, again, like, real estate is not, sometimes we see so much of the good, but there's like,
oh no,
there's good days, there's really bad days, there's like, oh shit, I didn't calculate for those types of moments. So Jennifer, maybe give us some insight on that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it was definitely one of our biggest challenges was managing from afar. We did have to kind of sneak into the province a few times. And we did have to fire property management. I mean, it's just, that's the way it was. I mean, we were able to fill 7 units in a week on our own that property management wasn't doing over months. So, I mean, I think that sometimes you just have to do it. Like, you just get it done. And
yeah, slow to hire, quick to fire is some of our words. And I think remotely as well, there's so much you can do remotely with technology. It's insane. We've rented like those 7 units in a week. I rented 3 out of 7, all digitally. So virtual tours. Facebook.
Facebook Marketplace. Okay, no, that's good, because I know, like, back in the day, I shouldn't say back in the day, not even that long ago, Kijiji was like the be all, the end all. Everyone was like putting their rental ads on there. And then I think slowly, I mean, for people that are doing it themselves, Facebook Marketplace has taken over that that place where everyone's posting.
Yeah. Well, we definitely do get a lot more responses on Facebook Marketplace, and you can like start social media stalking them right away.
Perfect. Yeah, you get access to their account. Well, unless it's private, but usually they're not fully private. Then you can scroll through and, oh, well, thank you. No, it's no longer available.
I mean, one of the things that I started doing too is, like, you're on probably a lot of the same groups, but the landlord and tenant groups, provinces, I just want to make sure that that person's name is not like somebody that's replying to all of these other people being like, giving advice on how to screw their landlords over even more. Right? Stuff. So I don't want to see them in any of those groups. But I will tell you that, the downside, I think, of Facebook Marketplaces is they know who you are, right? And, sometimes with Kijiji, you can stay much more anonymous. So there's that kind of catch-22, but I think that's just where the market's headed. Okay, so you obviously are managing this remotely. You've got properties in the US, you've got properties in Eastern Canada that have property management. Some you've rehired since then or whatnot. Other than a property manager, like, who are some of the key people that you lean on a lot to ensure that things go smoothly, other than the both of you, of course?
Yes, well, yeah, the two of us we're quite the tag team, but we do have like a great. I think it's so important to have like a good plumber, because 9 times out of 10 when the tenant calls you, like, even if you send the property manager, he's just going to be dispatching it to somebody else. So a good plumber and a good electrician and a good contractor. Then
you're pretty much covered. And then using apps like Building Stack is amazing. So the communication module, I'm going to sound like an advertising, but it's really cool that the tenant can say, hey, my toilet is blocked, whatever, it goes in it, and then a message gets sent either to me, or it could go directly to a designated plumber, and then you never hear about it. You just get the bill and we're all happy about it. And it's really cool. So that really helps, using technology, leveraging it, and yeah, it saves a lot of time. Just before getting on, I was dealing with a stove that's defective, but this tenant is not yet on our app. Once they will be, I'm not going to hear from them anymore. It's going to go on the app. Oh, it's defective. Well, here's our designated technician, and then they book their time, and you just save so much time. And of course, you need to review that. And what's nice, you get reporting. So if you see it's always this tenant and everything's breaking, well, maybe the tenant is the issue and not the equipment, or maybe the equipment is all dated. So those are just business decisions you make at some point. So.
Very cool. So you're using Building Stack then to do the majority of your management. Are you doing it in Building Stack, or utilizing Building Stacks for your US properties too?
No. So US, because right now it's so small and it's so new, we don't know the rules yet. So we just we went with the property management from the turnkey solution where we bought. So kept it simple. But once we have multiple properties, then yeah, maybe we'll look at that. So.
All right, very cool. Now you built really quickly. Have you had tough conversations or things that arose with partners, JV partners? I mean, we don't need to know names, but oh
yes,
it's going to happen at some point, right? Hey, I need my money, I'm getting divorced, or like something's going to happen where no matter what, how much you dot your I's and cross your T's, some things will come out. Are you able to share any of those stories just so we can get like a realistic view on sometimes how it can be working with?
Yeah. Jennifer, do you want to share the story nicely?
Well, we did have a money partner that pulled out 2 weeks before our closing date, and it was a pretty good sum. It was $100,000. So we really had to like turn on a dime.
Yeah.
So that was quite stressful. We did have a few sleepless nights, and then we just started sometimes we have like a whiteboard where we write names of people that we've been chatting with for a little while and who have said that they've been interested in working with us. So we're like, okay, let's start calling people.
Let's call everybody. This is getting urgent. And this one time that was hard not to be stressed and to be pressuring people, because we're like, yeah, we qualified for this mortgage. If we don't show up with the money, we're in big trouble.
But we were just totally honest with this new money partner. We had been talking with them for a little while. We just said, we are stuck.
Yeah, honesty is huge.
We need help. We're stuck. Do you think that you'd be willing to work with us? And then we just went through all the numbers. This is the deal. This is what it looks like. And they were like, sure. I was like,
yeah, but it was half the amount. So we had to come up with the other half. So we sacrificed. That's something you do. I'm sure, Sarah, that's happened to you as an investor. We had a nice renovation budget for a house. Well, we scrapped that. So that went into our duplex. And we had to tell our kids, no living room furniture for a few months. Yay!
Yeah, we were on pillows for a few.
We're like, let's make it fun. We're gonna camp in the living room and have a duplex. How nice!
Those are the things that, we have to also account for some level of risk and some deviation from our plans, right? And especially, I think, in a time like today where the market is just, first of all, it's just nuts. But prices are hard to predict, like even renovations. I mean, by the time we're recording this, it's the end of April. But to my contractors, a few of them, and like prices have gone up, labor has gone up on average 30 to 40%. I mean, that is huge, right?
Yeah, and that's crazy.
And if you're comparing it to last year's reno budgets, I mean, you're going to be way off by 30 to 40%, which is a horrible thing. ARVs have changed, like so many things have changed. So there needs to be a little bit of a level of knowing that, like, if something happens, you have something or plan B or plan C or something that you can do. And especially if you're working with somebody else, like, you have to be able to like ensure that they get their money. You know what I mean?
Yes, contingency funds and lines of credit and credit cards if you're really, really stuck. Or mommy, I love you. Do you want to be my tenant again? For free in exchange for paying my debt. No, but you need to have plans and something, of course. Exit strategies.
For sure. So like, I mean, you guys are doing this together. You scaled up, quickly. And you talked about how that one thing kept you up at night, but, are you still actively looking, still actively purchasing? Are you saying, hey, let's slow down. We've got a bunch right now to manage and to sort out. Like, what's the plan moving forward?
Well, I think that we always kind of do it in lumps. It's like, okay, we buy 2 or 3 and then, okay, now we need to what we call stabilizing. We stabilize and then we go for another 2 or 3 and then we stabilize. So we kind of been doing that, continue that.
So we just had our latest buying spree.
Yeah, we just bought 2 more.
I don't even know. 1, 2, 3. 3. Well, it's going to be 3 by the end of May.
Yeah, it will be 3. And then we're
June
probably going to
July.
stabilize.
It's going to be more like a lump of 6 this time. Anyway, 6 properties. We don't even know how many we have because of all these joint venture partners, because they qualify and everything. So we kind of follow along, but there's steps they do and they're on our boards. So anyway.
Very cool. So they qualify. Now, how are you splitting the cash flow? How often are you setting that up, or the equity? Like, what is your joint venture, the typical joint venture that you're doing? Like, what does that even look like?
Yeah, our typical joint venture, I would say, is 50-50. So they would put in the credit and the funds, and then we do all of the work, which may sound like it's unfair, but I will tell you that it is a lot of work.
Yeah, like Jennifer the other day, she's like, this is slavery.
I know, I'm like, we are
no
slaves.
No more JVs, we're slaves.
Because it is a lot of work, and I think that they kind of do, and not that I don't like JVing, but I find that sometimes a money JV partner will kind of feel like, okay, I'm throwing the cash in it, have fun, bye guys, make it work. Yeah,
that's it, it's all your problem, tenants, everything. No, it's 50-50 problems as well, so that's what they forget.
But yeah, it is a lot of work, but I think that it's worth it, and we've had a lot of success with our JVs, and we do kind of split everything down the middle. So the cash flow, if we refi, if when we sell equity, so it's all 50-50.
We are open to different suggestions. So we've had higher net worth individuals or people that have really high salaries, they're in a top income tax bracket, then those people are looking more for equity. So they're going to want to cash out on a year where they're taking a sabbatical or something where their income's gone down that year, or some sort of tax planning. So that we're okay with, but we haven't done that yet. Everybody wants their cash flow for some reason.
Yeah,
everyone wants to retire.
Yes.
Are you distributing that, like, and doing like monthly payments of cash flow, quarterly, annually?
Quarterly.
Okay.
Yeah, monthly is not enough because you need to save for contingency funds, and there's always little stupid repairs that add up. And gravel did go down in price, so everything went up, but not gravel. So if you need a load of gravel, it's cheap.
That is funny. All right. Okay. So it sounds like you've got, a good plan in place. Are you doing specific exits? Like, are you figuring out how long you're going to hold these properties for with that partner, or are you just going in and then you'll figure it out along the way?
We usually do a 5-year term, because I just think that, especially since we're in secondary markets, that's where you're going to get the most out of your appreciation.
Yeah, and then you recoup all your closing costs and land transfer tax if there is, depending on the province where you invest. It's not everywhere. That's nice. 5 years you recoup all your costs, and then your mortgage as well. That's a good time to decide, do we refinance? Do we sell? What do we do? So that, it's 5 years. Or if we've done corporation, so this is newer, where we have a corporation and a commercial loan. So 5 years again is another great time to decide what's next. Okay. So it's longer term. It's not like flips or even the BRRRR. I know can be quite quick. We do slower, longer Mexican style stuff.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, in the markets where you're at, it probably makes more sense because you're getting the cash flow anyways. You won't get the same amount of lift to just do it as a buy and hold that works, right? And you've got your team and you're bringing the expertise to the table, and they're bringing the financing and the cash. So essentially, just to recap, they bring the financing, they bring the money, you bring the expertise, you bring your team, you bring, obviously your experience, this stuff. Absolutely. It's a 5-year thing. And then you've got your joint venture agreement that stipulates all the, if you guys get divorced, blah, 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 all that good stuff. Are you using the same joint venture agreement for everybody, or are you tweaking it based on everybody's circumstances?
Yeah, major tweaks. We've had some where it's super custom. Like our US deal was very complicated because we have a partner in Canada where we JV'd for the money, and then the partner, anyway, everything gets invested in the States. So we had to get this very customized. We've had
other ones that have offered their own template because they preferred theirs.
Yeah, and we were okay with the terms. Some of them were really simple, so they were more advanced, so their terms were simplified. Some wanted all kinds of clauses and kept adding pages after pages. We're like, okay, this is intense. But it worked out. We deal with some couples. We've dealt with single people that are not married. So that also changes the dynamic. So if something happens, they're not married, even though they're common law, there's some things to consider.
You don't have the same rights as a common law couple as you would as a married. So it's important to put that in your JV if that's your case.
Exactly. Because it's like, if I die, it goes to Jennifer. But if you're not married, it doesn't automatically go like that unless you have a will and different things in place. So it's something to consider. And also, let's say I've been talking to you, Sarah, for months. We want to work together, but you don't know Jennifer, and then I die, and then poof, you're now partner with Jennifer. Yay! So you have to consider that, and who's next, or you're single, and then you pass away. Well, who am I working with now, and all that stuff. Life insurance is huge. We always get life insurance for the partners to cover capital gains, deemed dispositions, all that stuff.
Great tips. Get life insurance on them that you guys pay in case something happens to them to pay off the mortgage. Wow, yeah, that's a great
mortgage
tip.
Or even just
capital gains, because you'll have capital gains right away if the partner passes away. So
if there's no inheritance, or their family too, it's to protect whoever is inheriting this share. There's the deemed disposition with CRA, so do your research on that. But when someone dies, then it is disposed of, so you need to be insured. Infinite banking too, we're really getting into that. So with life insurance, soon we won't need any banks, so that's going to be exciting.
Wow, very cool. You guys are so impressive, like superpower couple, and it's just nice to see you both like so excited and enthusiastic and on the same page about real estate investing, right? Because sometimes there's one person that's like way into it to real estate and wants to invest, and the other person's like totally against it or not really interested. Were you always like this? Like, were you both always like dedicated to real estate investing and the idea, or was one person, pulling the other one in the beginning, before you both got to the same page?
Well, I think that we kind of both warmed up to it at the same time. Like we were just like, we were testing our toes in the water together, and then we're like, oh, okay, this works out well. This is gonna. Yeah. So we both kind of got the bug, and we're like, okay, now we got to figure out how to get the next one. And I think that we're both kind of like that. If it's not him, it's me. Where's the next one? Where's the next deal? And we're like, ooh.
And she's the worst. She tells me no more buildings. And then she's on MLS or some website with Zillow or something, and she's scrolling. I'm like, what are you doing? Looking at buildings? This is not right. And then I'm like, well, I have a JV partner for this one, so let's just get it.
That is so cool. So not only do you invest together, you technically work together because you're managing all these properties. You live together. Do you guys fight a lot, or do you get along the majority of the time?
Get along quite well.
Yeah, we don't fight a lot. We've been together for 22 years.
So yeah, we fight when we're not together. Like I left a few days ago for a week and a half. That was not nice.
I hate sleeping alone. And when he's gone, I'm like the worst. I'm like, are you painting fast? Are you doing this fast? Are you doing?
The pressure was on.
I'm like, stop talking to Sarah and everybody at the right club. Just paint.
She's a like slave driver.
Yeah, because you drove to see your rental property. I think we had like a bunch of like meetings along the way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I kept busy. But...
And I'm like, delegate to me. Give me things to do that I can do from here so you can come home.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Actually, I think we are going to be handing you, Jennifer, also more podcasts for the right club, overseeing and all that good stuff. So you will be busier.
Yeah,
that's good.
But she's gonna understand more and more what I do, because that's what you have to understand. We met at 18 and we were in college together. We studied interior design together and
Wow.
we worked together oftentimes. We always wanted our own business. We tried a few times, it didn't work out, but this time it is working out. So it's awesome. And the kids too are involved. So we're really a tight-knit family.
Even in college, I used to finish his homework when he took too long.
Yes. She got fed up because I'm like, one more.
What's the secret? Like, how do you guys keep like your relationship strong while you're still with each other like 24/7?
Lots of wine. No,
I just think that it's picking your partner kind of right, because I mean, like, I always want to spend time with him. I mean, it sounds so incredibly cheesy, but we are always like texting each other and FaceTiming.
It's disgusting. You'd be sick.
Like I was at work for like 8 hours today, and we must have texted at least 20 times, and we FaceTimed.
Oh yeah. I miss you more. I love you more. So it's the same for real estate, and it works. Like sometimes I have a conversation. I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm busy. I just passed the phone, and she continues the conversation exactly where I left it off. Like even realtors find it scary. She's like, no, it's not François, it's Jennifer, but here's how it's gonna roll.
Soulmates. That's amazing. It's incredible.
Yeah. So hopefully we don't die. Like we hope we die together. So.
Very old.
Actually,
Yeah.
you know what? It is great because a lot of people that have been together for like 20 years, they're like, not happy. They're not excited about being around each other and that kind of stuff. And I think that's like, it's just so nice to see. It's refreshing to see like you guys are like complimenting each other in the business, and like, you find time to like do some fun things. Like I like your like wine and real estate show. Like that's so cool. You're both so passionate about it. So congrats. I mean, I think like you guys could be like relationship counselors as well in another life.
Well, because we did it reverse. We had all the fighting and.
Yeah, we did fight a lot when we were younger.
Oh man, smashing dishes and all kinds of stuff. And now it's out of the way, so now we get to enjoy life. You do it when you're young, fight and argue and.
Can I ask who's the one that smashed the dishes?
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's so satisfying. But we had this crystal vase. She could not.
I couldn't break it. Like that thing, I would just like heave it all over the apartment, and it wouldn't break. I was so mad.
Oh gosh, that's hilarious. Who's
You're
got
bad tenants.
The worst temper between you two?
Depends on the subject.
Yeah. It would depend. Sometimes he gets a really bad temper and sometimes it's me, but we know how to cool each other off. So that's good. I pout, she pouts. And yeah, it's very quiet now at our age and that many years, there's not much yelling or anything. It's like, that's it. And then silence.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Well, I love it. All right, guys. I mean, we can keep talking forever because it's quite entertaining, even, just to ask you questions about your relationships and real estate and your investments and all that good stuff. But the next part is our lightning round. So I'm going to ask each of you a series of 5 questions. Everybody gets the same questions. You're going to give us the first answer that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So I'll get an answer from each of you. So question number 1, what is your favorite real estate investing book? Maybe Jennifer, we'll start with you.
Oh, I like The Wealthy Barber. It's not really real estate investing, but I liked how it was written.
Yep, absolutely great book. François, and you?
So not Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
I mean, it's a great book, but that's what everybody says, right?
Please. I actually read it and I did not like it. I apologize. I know it's changed people's lives. I was bored beyond tears, but Jennifer kept saying, it's a good book, read it. Anyway, not it. I did like Money People Deal from Stéphane Arnaud. I thought it was very interesting. Like, I don't agree with everything, but very good mindset shift. And I read a lot in French, so I could give you a whole bunch of French titles.
Is there a French real estate book that you recommend?
I forget the title, so I apologize.
Since you actually do my show notes for the podcast, if you do find it in the show notes.
Sure, I'll put one in, yes. And some of them have been translated. And it's good because a lot of it is in Quebec, which is a tougher market. So it's interesting. There didn't used to be as much of a lift or any of that stuff. So.
All right, very cool. Number 2, if you listen to podcasts, what is your favorite podcast? It doesn't have to be real estate related. It could be anything at all. François, we'll start with you.
I really like Andrew Hines, his podcast. Sorry, Sarah.
No, that's cool. He's got a great podcast.
Because he's a numbers guy, and I guess I like that because I'm not a numbers guy, but he kind of really drills down, and he gets into really crazy topics like politics and all kinds of stuff you shouldn't really say, which I really enjoy. So
cool. All right, I do love his podcast as well. Jennifer, what about you?
I really like Living Among Lions with the Benham brothers. So they're two real estate, the two twin brothers that invest in real estate and
in the States.
So
it's really cool. Yeah, I forgot about them. Yeah, they're Christian. We're Christian, so it's very hardcore Christian, Bible thumping real estate. So it's perfect.
Cool. All right, sounds good. What do you do for fun aside from real estate investing or anything work related? Jennifer, we'll start with you.
I love reading and I love going for walks with François.
Cooking too. You love cooking.
I love cooking too, but I didn't want to talk really long.
Yeah.
It's the lightning round.
I actually, I like weird stuff. So during winter, I love shoveling snow. Not the heavy stuff at the street, but I just like scraping my driveway and making it all nice and neat. I also enjoy doing dishes, which is very, very odd.
And I love that he loves shoveling and doing dishes.
I was going to say, if you're the cook and you like cooking and he likes the cleaning up and tidying, then it's like a perfect match.
Exactly, and I just love that. I love gardening, horticulture. Can't wait to have a new garden at some point, and spending time with the family.
All right, very cool. Question number 4, if you lost all of your assets and tomorrow, or all your assets and your real estate tomorrow, how would you start again?
Jennifer?
How would I start again? I think that we'd be picking up the phone and calling people.
Yeah, so totally joint ventures because our experience doesn't require money, like you still have it. So we do that. I know a lot of people say invest in a mentor or a coach. I agree with them. Don't overpay though. That's one thing I will mention. So sorry, I know there's some coaches and stuff, but it's like real estate. So do it incrementally. So if you're smaller, you have nothing left. Yes, invest, but don't go like 25,000 your first coach. Start smaller and then grow. Same with properties. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And last question, if somebody has $50,000 and they want to get started, it's an open-ended question. How would you recommend they spend that money?
Are they new?
Well, let's just say they're new and they've got 50 grand to spend.
Yeah, I had that question.
I would say in a joint venture, because you'd learn, like if you weren't confident to do it yourself, you'd learn like from A to Z, the entire process of a deal, and then you could just reproduce it yourself if you didn't want to do a joint venture again.
Yeah, or you could, depending how much time you have and all that, what age group, you could do private lending and then grow your capital to fit the market where you're investing. There's different things you can do. So yeah.
Very cool. All right, that was the lightning round. Where can my listeners reach out to you, François or Jennifer?
So we go by our company name. So FL, so F like François, L like Lanthier, but that's not what it means. It means Famille Lanthier, so Lanthier family. So FL Homes Corp. We're on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Not on TikTok yet. Our daughter will add us soon. Jennifer, you're very discreet on social media.
Yeah.
I'm quite active. So François Lanthier and therightclub.com.
All right, very cool. And final question, any final last words of advice? Short and simple. Jennifer, go for it.
That's what I am, short and simple. I'll say just do it.
Yes. That's the biggest thing, the whole analysis paralysis. That's not us. And I think that's the key to success. Yes, you need to get information, but don't don't just take action. Yeah, and that one was very typical, but it's so true.
But it got you to where you are today, and that's why you've been able to scale so quickly with 30 plus properties in less than 2 years. So congrats, and thank you guys for being on the show. It was a pleasure having you on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks so much for listening to Where Should I Invest with your host, Sarah Larbi. Make sure to listen in next time. We'll catch you on the next episode of Where Should I Invest?